Hey, welcome to the Toolshed. Hey, we're wrapping up season 1, our spring training series, and we're super excited about today's episode. Hey, today's episode is the all about champions, and it's brought to you by our good friends at Emerson. The really cool thing is the whole Toolshed is sponsored by our good friends over at Schedule Engine, and we have one of our good friends from Schedule Engine in the Toolshed this morning. Ray Clark, welcome.
Welcome. So when the kids say shed life, only life, that's what they're talking about. This is what they're talking about. So
this is the shed
happy
life.
to be here.
That's
happy
right.
to be here.
Thrilled you're here.
Very good.
Cool. Hey. So this week we've we've been talking about all the championship game, and today it's really the habit that we talk a lot about in the shed is being customer centric, putting the customer in the middle of everything. Today it's all about customer centric. It's all about evolving or dying. Obviously, Schedule Engine, super customer centric, and we're going to get into that and unpack. I think you got some great things to share. I know everybody watching will get a ton out of it. But before we do that, what day is it?
That's a great question. Jerry, what day is it?
Wednesday. I was like, uh-oh. I really don't know. Somebody needs to tell me. So it's Wednesday, and Wednesday we are joined by our good shed friend, HVAC Jess. You can follow her on Instagram. For those that don't know, she's an apprentice, and she's been journaling her journey by documenting it on Instagram. You can give her a follow. She's always great advice. And today she's got another important message for us. So let's roll the tape.
Hello, friends. This is HVAC Jess bringing you the apprentice tip of the week. This week's tip applies to any tradesperson or any person, and that is look after yourself. You are representing the company that you're working for, so you should put your best face forward. And that means getting a good night's sleep, eating relatively well, and exercising. For me, mental health is directly related to my physical health, and if I'm not in good shape, I cannot focus, I cannot retain information that my journeyman or my instructor is giving me, and my reactions to things and people is less than great. So I know it sounds super cliche, but you only have one body. So love it and respect it, and it will take care of you in your job and your everyday life. Thanks for stopping by.
That's it, man. And I got to tell you, we talk a lot of this, whether it's Mike, who we'll hear from tomorrow, or Jess. We tend to go, yeah. But look, we all make a living from a healthy body. It's literally how we take care of our families. And I think she makes a great point. We've ragged on people's gas station breakfast. But I think she brings up an important point. We're in the middle of a heat wave. Summer is coming. We're all going to be going a little bonkers. And mental health's real. So make sure you're talking to your team, talking to your loved ones. Do what you can to get through the season. But stay healthy, stay well, make a good choice. It's super, super important. We're glad that Jess shared the message. And we don't hear it enough. So well said. All right, Jerry, Ray.
Yeah, hey, let's talk to Ray. But hey, mental health is a real thing. About 1 out of every 4 Americans suffer from some mental health issues, and so you got to take care of yourself. You got to be good to yourself sometimes as well, right?
Absolutely.
What do you say? You can't pour from an empty glass.
That's
right?
it. You can't. You got to make sure you're filling yourself up, and it's not just for work, for your loved ones. But
amen.
You guys were talking about a company earlier. Who was it? Let's do the company shout out.
Yeah, the company shout out. You want to do it?
Oh, I do. Pressure is on. Company shout out today, Mr. Tim Kropp and the Kropp Metcalf team. Big shout out to those guys.
Man.
Andrew Ozer, all the team over there. So
Ben Kelly
holding down the greater DC area. So shout out to Tim and the Kropp Metcalf team.
They've been doing some good stuff for a long time. Again, good people. They support the industry. They support the associations. They invest in their teams. Just a ton of good stuff going on there. And Schedule Engine friends, right?
One of the first companies we visited prior to Schedule Engine really even being live or having a build solution. So they gave some awesome feedback early on. So thank you guys to the Kropp team.
Yeah,
some nice
awesome.
nostalgia right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, let's talk to Ray for just a minute.
Yeah.
Ray, tell us a 2-minute story about Ray.
We got to keep it PG-13, right? No, I'm kidding. 2-minute story about Ray. So I think what would help set up today's conversation. So I studied engineering, and a lot of my internships throughout school were spending time in labs and stuff, which, I love some of that analytical work. But to think about a 9-to-5 job just in a lab all day, isolated by yourself, was not for me. And, we talk about the right doors opening at the right time. So a buddy of mine, Tarek, a roommate in college, we're graduating, and he's like, man, I just got this job at Carrier. I'm like, is that like a cell phone company? He's like, no. They're an air conditioning company. He's like, listen, they're looking for another rep in the Philadelphia area. It's a technical sales engineer. So I could use those tuition dollars for the engineering side. Took the interview, loved it. Still really had no idea what an HVAC refrigeration cycle was. But long story short, signed with Carrier. They put me up at a Carrier Circle in Syracuse for 6 months, learning the refrigeration cycle, PTACs, chillers, psychometrics, all that fun stuff. And I never thought I'd be in the home services or HVAC industry, but here I am on the shed, right? So things happen for the right reason. Spent a lot of time with contractors in basements, troubleshooting chillers, on roofs at some hospitals with some air handling units. And now with Schedule Engine, I'm kind of more on the residential side, but it's been a fun ride.
Yeah,
that's second engineer in 2 days, so maybe this will start to rub off. Maybe
I got to follow up Becky and Shane from yesterday. Those are some big shoes to fill. But
hey, 2 engineers, 2 days.
I'm just saying it's a trend.
Don't make me do any math today, but but yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Schedule Engine and what's going on over there, and how many techs that y'all have under that umbrella now. That's insane.
It's funny. I was down at a conference 2 weeks ago, so things with the vaccination finally starting to open back up. It was a service roundtable event. So some great people like Joe Strittmatter, Corey and the Comfort Matters team. So shout out to those companies, Jerry Kelly, some big names. And as we think about how fast and how big Schedule Engine's grown, it's awesome. And we probably have tens of thousands of technicians, not only in the United States, but in Canada too. So really at this point, safe to say every market, rural, metropolitan, right? From 2 trucks to 200 to 1,000 trucks. We've seen it all. So it's exciting to have that much of a client base now and getting feedback from some of the best of the best. So.
What does Schedule Engine offer? Because we've been talking about it for a month and a half, and just in case someone doesn't know, what do you guys do?
Schedule Engine. That's a great question. What do we do? So at Schedule Engine, and it's funny, Schedule Engine started here in Lidditz, right? Incubated at Haller Enterprises. We were having some fun throwback nostalgia last night, talking about some of the original trips with Austin and everything. But Haller, kudos to their team, kudos to Austin Haller, our founder, realized 5 years ago, customers want convenience and convenience will win. And there's a lot of great digital marketing companies out there, like Rhinos of the world, that do a great job driving traffic to your website. And what do we want to do? We want to turn that traffic into book jobs, revenue in our Service Titan House Call Pro system. But there was that big gap between, right? Which is website traffic's great. I remember you told me one time, we pulled up reports. It's, hey, here's all the website traffic we're driving. Website traffic doesn't pay the bill. So really where Schedule Engine tried to step in was helping create an online booking experience built for contractors by contractors to turn website traffic directly into booked appointments and revenue.
Wow.
And it's been an exciting journey. So we started with online booking, right? The same Uber, Amazon-like experience. And now we're rolling into live services. So web chat, after hours or overflow phone support, all backed, industry trained, 24/7 real people. So
wow, you guys doing it all.
Wow.
I don't do it all. We got people much smarter.
And the Toolshed, but man, that's fantastic.
And sometimes we build tool sheds too. So
yeah, like I saw a hashtag for Schedule Engine the other day that said, hey, book more calls, have less headaches. And what's not to like about that for a contractor?
Book more calls, fewer headaches. Yeah. It's as simple as that, right? Like we talked to some great contractors, and pre-Schedule Engine, right? As funny as that sounds to say, when busy season rolls around, what do? Try to staff up. You fight fire with fire. Man, we can't miss calls. I got to hire more CSRs to answer more calls. And that's only going to get you so far, where you're going to hit a point of diminishing returns, right? So when you can offer newer alternative channels, we're not trying to replace phone calls, right? We're just trying to give consumers the option, choose what's most convenient for you, whether it's calling in, booking online, maybe web chat, or even calling in after hours,
So
right?
it really
At
just
10 o'clock for those
yeah.
night owls.
Yeah, putting the customer, like not trying to force the customer, just putting the customer and involving your business to meet where the customer is today. I've heard you say, you talked about how like what's the Amazon effect or whatever.
Yeah.
You want to share that quick?
Well, I mean, you said earlier, evolve or die. And I think for a lot of organizations, and I'll steal an Eddieism, it's not good. It's not bad. It just is. It's just a fact. And oftentimes it's easy to point fingers, right? How Amazon, they killed other local retailers. No, I mean, local retailers didn't innovate, right? It's easy to say Netflix killed Blockbuster. Netflix was at the table, right? Blockbuster had their chance. And it was a failure for Blockbuster to innovate and be customer centric. They killed themselves. So change is the only constant in life. And I think it's easy for us to point fingers and be like, man, these consumers, they're impatient, they're ruthless, they're unforgiving. You can keep saying that all day, or you can do something about it. And another Eddieism, not doing anything is still making a choice, right? It's still making a choice. So now, long story short, right? We know the way that the world's moving. COVID only sped up the digital acceleration. The easier companies can make it for their customers, the better, and convenience will win. So
all right. So
evolve or die, baby.
Hey, some customers, they just want to book online. They don't want to talk to anybody. And other customers, they want to pick up the phone and talk to that trained specialist. And other people, they just want to chat and not talk to anybody. And so like that's great for the customer.
Yeah. You know, it's oftentimes technology's done to contractors, like we've talked about. And the beauty about Schedule Engine is we're not trying to replace or we're just trying to augment and just take pressure off call centers and CSRs. Because for people that do want to talk on the phone, higher value calls, emergencies, they don't want to wait on hold. So if you could offload 20 to 30% of your call volume, especially during busy season, free up your CSRs, make their job more fulfilling, use technology to automate some of those lower value interactions, right? So you can amplify the higher value experiences. So
love it,
man. That's good stuff.
One of the things you're hitting on is there's sort of like we talked about as a home service expert that still in the home and the customer's king. There's three legs to the stool, and we talk a lot about what you're talking about. You know, Jerry and I talk a lot about soft skills, but we also have to talk about the business side, and that's what you're talking about. There's a real business. None of us are in this for a nonprofit. So how do we do that? But the last thing, you're talking a lot about technology and the technical stuff, and some of the things that have come along have really made the work a little easier. And I was thinking of Interplay. So Interplay, for those that don't know, it's a VR-based, computer-based training for technicians to actually work on, you know, your compressors and all these other things, troubleshooting using your meter. And actually, why don't we do this? Why don't we jump in the Facebook group today? We're going to give away 5 seats, thanks to our good friends at Interplay. We'll make a post and we'll give that away. So it's SE Toolshed at Facebook, and we'll talk about that. But what's your favorite question?
Hey, let's we'll wrap it up. Ray, it's been so nice having you here.
Man.
We've known each other for a long time, and it's just been fantastic. But hey, take us back to when you first started your career, maybe at like that second year after you figured out the first year. Hey, this isn't so bad. I might stick with this. What would you tell your younger self?
The sophomore year. You're hitting me with the sophomore year, Jerry.
It's the sophomore question.
The sophomore question. I would say double down. And I think when we go from our comfort zone to a growth zone or growth mindset, you can hear that little voice sometimes where, maybe you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe customers don't want this, right? Maybe you don't know how to lead or grow a team or whatnot. And it's easy to listen to that voice. And I think a lot of people do, which is why it's hard. But if you can double down, listen to your gut, know customer experience, convenience will win. And as much as, especially, hopefully some, owners who went out on their own realize, some people have higher capacity than others and can do a lot and wear a lot of hats, but the longer you kind of stay in there, you're not going to grow. And it might be a little bit counterintuitive, but the sooner you can make some of those tough decisions, take this off my plate, maybe hire somebody else, start growing out a team a little bit. It's uncomfortable, but that's where you grow. So if I went back to my sophomore year, double down, as much as, I might consider myself a higher capacity individual, you can't do it all. And the sooner you can push, faster you're going to grow. So
listen to that voice, huh?
Listen to that voice.
Well, that's pretty good. Why don't we make that the challenge of the day? Why don't you find one thing that you're going to evolve in? Everything that Ray shared with us is about evolution. We're in a customer-centric business. Pick one thing, whether it's time to hire, add a truck, maybe it's just time to start using all the steps in the system. Maybe it's learn how to use my tools better. Whatever it is that's going to make you a better technician, better individual, better family member, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's like Jess says, maybe we're going to take mental health seriously, right? So find one thing and then make a commitment, not to anybody else, but to yourself, that you're going to learn how to evolve in that one thing. Listen to that voice. Even I heard you talking about, even if it's uncomfortable, right? And that's often what holds us back. So I think that's a great message. So let's talk
Double
about
down,
next
Double
week.
down and take action. I love it.
We're gonna thank everybody that's been here. Thank you, Emerson. Thanks to One of a Kind Original Toolshed. We know the group has grown tremendously over the last month, and so what we're going to do, we're going to take, starting next week, we're going to take all these episodes, the greatest hits, the ones you didn't see, the ones you want to rewatch and binge. We're basically Netflix now, right? No, we're going to trim the fat,
Amazon Prime.
and we're going to leave you only the good stuff. We know you're busy, but we want to be there for you, so we'll keep them. Look for June, the Toolshed Power Packs coming at you, keeping the promise to swing by this Schedule Engine Toolshed, the place you go to make every job, life, relationship maybe just a little bit easier. And we're glad you're coming along with us. Jerry, what do you always say?
I always say it's good to see Ray Clark. Hey, thanks for stopping by the Toolshed. Be good out there so you can do good out there. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Toolshed.